This video is an introduction into how to use the WinScry client console to create system alert notifications. Now, if you haven't watched it already, you should watch the prior video, which was getting started with WinScry, which went through using the WinScry management console to create your subscription and create an installation like I have set up here. To begin, there are three different types of notifications that you can get from WinScry. There's a status report, there is a conditional alert, and there is what's called a file API alert. We're going to go over these three items. We're going to brush over conditional alerts a little bit because there will be future videos that go more in depth into many things you can do with conditional alerts. But let's start with the status report. To create anything new, you just click on the button. If you already have it created, you click on the pencil to edit it. I'm going to click on the pencil. I'll get a message that tells me that the WinScry Windows service is running. And if you're going to edit things and change them, you need to stop the service. So I'm going to say yes, stop the service, and come in. Now this is how I have set up the status report. I've set it up to only send it on demand. That's only if I ask for it. And we'll go through that in just a moment. I could say that I want to set it scheduled and say send me a status report every day. Now that's just fine if you're only monitoring one server. But if you're monitoring 50 servers, that's 50 emails a day that you have to sort through and figure out if you didn't get one, for instance, that there might be something wrong. So we always recommend that for the status report, you set it to on demand. And then you get to pick a little bit of information that might come in the status report. I've got, say, send me information about all the fixed hard drives. I'm not doing anything optional. I'm going to say I want information on these Windows services, and it'll just send me a note that tells me whether they're registered, running, or stopped. Now, to send a system status report when the WinScry service is running, all I have to do is click here, and it'll say, do you want to create a send now request? You say yes, and within 5 minutes or so or less, you should get an email that looks something like this. It will list out all of the alerts that you have. It'll identify the installation. My installation was Auckland Hospital. Gives you some local system information, time zones, computer information. It'll tell you what alerts they have on there and what their current state is. You can say this example alert has been activated, and you can see in the legend what activated means. And there's a file API alert. There's my fixed hard drive information, and here's my service status that I had requested. Now, the other type of alert you can have here is a conditional alert, and we're going to go briefly into this. I've got one set up with one alert condition. Let's edit it and see what it is. I have a hard drive alert, and this is set up just as a test. This is a hard drive condition, so I'm going to edit it. And what I did is I set it up to monitor the C drive on this computer. Now, the C drive on this computer has total size of 1.82 terabytes. I'm creating this alert to say if the free space falls below 3 terabytes and remains that way for 5 minutes, it's going to create, and that's going to activate this alert condition. If it stays that way for 5 minutes, it's going to trigger it and generate an email, which means it would always send an email out on this because my hard drive doesn't have 3 terabytes on it. And you can add more conditions. I could add a service condition, for instance, and say if, and you pick a service, whatever, if the DCOM server is stopped and stays that way for 30 minutes, then I want that to trigger an email. Once you have more than one condition, this little checkbox will appear. This is, do you want the email alert to come only if all of the conditions are met, or do you want it to be OR logic that says if any of these conditions are met, trigger the email? So I'm going to say yes, I want to trigger it if any of these are met. Now, the last one, File API Alert. And this one is kind of interesting. It's not really an alert. It's more of just a monitor a folder. And let's take a look at it. So the name of my alert is Send Error Logs. I'm telling it to look at this folder for files with the extension log or text. And I'm saying to filter it based on age. The files have to be at least 1 day old. I'm going to enable the alert and click OK, and now it is there. So when my WinScry Windows service is running, it's going to be looking in this for these files. And just as an example, it's May the 6th is the date of this video. You can see there are 2 older files and 1 current file. So when I start the WinScry service up, it should find those files and email them to me. And when they do, they'll come in an email that will look something like this. Again, traffic, there's my 2 file attachments, and here's my system information. Again, just like the status report. It tells me that my File API alert was triggered as of that date. Now, you can set up as many File API alerts looking in as many different folders as you want. You can create as many conditional alerts as you want, and they will all be evaluated. One of the most common questions that we would get is it better to have one alert with many conditions or many alerts with one condition each? And the answer to that is it doesn't matter. There is no right or wrong on it. It's whatever works best for you. I mean, I could set up this alert to have 50 different conditions, and if any one of them is triggered, it would generate an email, meaning I would then have to remote back into this site and figure out what happened, which one of those 50 conditions. Or I could create 50 different alerts, each one checking for a specific thing. And again, that would also be all right. The worst thing is in a catastrophic failure, I might get 50 emails, but they would be each one would be telling me that something was wrong. So watch for the next video, which will be going into how to do conditional alerts and all of the different things that you can do in that area. And until then, visit WinScry.com to download WinScry and set it up. It's got a free 30-day demo. And always make sure that you take advantage of the online help as well. It's pretty good. You also have access to all these videos from within that. And subscribe to our channel for future updates.